You know, that nagging worry about what other people think of you? Yeah, we've all been there. Today, we're not just going to break down why that happens. We're going to get into what you can actually do about it.
I mean, you know that feeling, right? Where your thumb is just hovering over the send button, and you're caught in this loop of second-guessing every single word, every emoji, just terrified of being misunderstood. It feels like such a small moment, but it says so much about a much bigger pattern. Oh, and it doesn't stop with texts, does it? Have you ever found yourself wide awake at 3 a.m., replaying that one awkward thing you said at a party just over and over and over again? It feels like you're the only one who even remembers, but that cringe is just so powerful. Look, if any of this is ringing a bell, you are in exactly the right place. Let's get into why our brains do this. So, this whole pattern, we can call it the validation trap. And it's exhausting, right? It's like you're living your life based on a scoreboard that, well, you didn't even create. It's like other people hold the pen. It's about time we learn the rules of this game so we can finally decide to stop playing.
And here is the core idea, the big psychological term for it, an external locus of evaluation. Now, it sounds super academic, but the idea is actually simple. It means you've outsourced the job of deciding your own worth. Instead of looking inside and saying, I'm okay, you're constantly scanning the crowd, looking for their applause, their likes, to tell you that you're okay.
Now, you're probably thinking, okay, but where did I even learn to do this? And that's the key question. Because here's the thing, you weren't born this way. This is learned behavior. So let's hit rewind and figure out how this mental wiring got installed in the first place.
This takes us straight to the work of the brilliant psychologist Carl Rogers and his idea of conditions of worth. See, from when we're really little, we start picking up on all these messages. Some are subtle, some not so much. You're such a good girl when you're quiet. I'm so proud of you because you won. We start to connect the dots and believe that our worth isn't just a given. It's something we have to earn by meeting these conditions.
And what happens? Well, we end up with this massive inner rulebook for how to live. And the crazy part is, we didn't even write it. It's packed with other people's expectations and values, and it guides our every move, not toward what feels true to us, but toward what we think will win us that approval we all so desperately want.
And this connects right into another huge piece of the puzzle, attachment theory. If our earliest relationships with caregivers were unpredictable, sometimes warm and loving, other times distant or critical, we can develop something called an insecure attachment. This basically installs a deep-seated belief that love isn't a guarantee. It's something you have to perform for, which naturally leads to this massive fear of rejection as an adult.
So let's just put these side by side, because the difference is night and day. With an insecure attachment, your self-worth is on a total roller coaster. It goes up and down based on what other people think. But with a secure attachment, that sense of self is solid. It's internal. You can have a disagreement with a friend and not spiral into thinking they hate you because you're not constantly asking that question. Do they still like me? All right. So we've got these old psychological patterns, right? These deep roots from our childhood. Now let's fast forward to the 21st century. Because if our upbringing built the engine for this anxiety, modern technology just strapped a rocket to it. And yeah, I'm talking about that little glowing rectangle in your pocket.
I'm just going to say it straight up. For anyone who's already prone to worrying about what others think, social media is pure, high-octane rocket fuel. It takes our very human need for belonging and plugs it into a system that is literally designed to prey on our insecurities.
And here's the playbook, right? Here's exactly how it messes with our heads. First, you've got the constant comparison to everyone else's perfect, curated highlight reel. Then it turns validation into a number. Your worth gets tied to likes and comments. Third, it creates this sense that you're always on, always performing for a digital audience. And all of that leads to this bone-deep emotional exhaustion we call social fatigue.
So what's powering this whole machine? It's a psychological principle called social validation. Basically, it's a shortcut our brains use. If a lot of people are doing something, we assume it's the right thing to do. It's an ancient survival instinct. But online, that shortcut creates this intense pressure to conform, to like what's popular, and to sand down our own unique edges to fit in.
Okay, that's a lot I know. We've talked about the what and the why. But that is only half the story. The best part is the how we start to break free from this cycle. So let's get practical. I've got a simple two-part toolkit you can start using today.
The first part of this toolkit is all about understanding something called cognitive distortions, and I absolutely love this analogy for it. Think of them as funhouse mirrors for your mind. They take reality and they twist it and warp it almost always in a more negative, self-critical way. And these aren't just, bad moods. They're specific, predictable, and flawed patterns of thinking.
So let's run through some of the classics. See if any of these sound familiar. You've got all or nothing thinking, where everything is either perfect or a disaster. There's mental filtering. You get 10 positive reviews and 1 negative one, and which one do you obsess over? Yep. Then there's jumping to conclusions. They didn't text back immediately, so obviously they hate you. And the big one, mistaking feelings for facts. Just because you feel like a loser doesn't mean you are one.
So what do you do about them? Here's tool number 1. It's a classic from cognitive behavioral therapy, and it's called cognitive restructuring. It's a simple 3-step process. 1. Catch it. You have to notice the thought as it's happening. 2. Challenge it. Become a detective. Ask yourself, is this thought 100% true? What evidence do I have that it's not true? And 3. Change it. You don't have to force yourself to believe something super positive, just find a thought that's more balanced and realistic.
And that leads us perfectly into our second tool, which is just as powerful, maybe even more so. It's captured perfectly in this quote from Dr. Kristen Neff. It's not about trying to force yourself to feel good all the time. Self-compassion is about treating yourself with the same kindness you would give to a friend who is going through a hard time. It's an act of goodwill towards yourself.
So what does that actually sound like in your head? It's super simple. You can use what are called releasing statements. So instead of that knee-jerk reaction, I'm such an idiot for feeling anxious, you just release the judgment. You try, it's okay that I felt anxious, or it makes sense that I felt upset. This simple little shift takes all the fuel away from that fire of self-criticism. It's about acceptance, not more judgment.
So let's just land the plane here for a second. The goal is not to become some robot who doesn't care about anyone or anything. That's not human. It's about a fundamental shift in where you get your sense of worth. It's about taking that power back and moving the source of validation from out there in the unpredictable world of other people's opinions to in here, inside yourself, where it belongs. And I want to leave you with one final question to really chew on. All of this worrying, this performing, this second-guessing, it's all based on one core assumption, that your worth is something you have to constantly prove and earn. But what if, just what if, you decided to stop playing that game? What would change in your life, starting right now, if you chose to believe that you are already inherently enough?